More than 100 bills have been introduced in the Washington State House. We're breaking down the top 5 bills to keep an eye on this legislative session.
Dry weather and warmer temperatures will continue today, but more rain and snow are on the way. I'll be tracking the latest round of showers in my forecast coming up.
You do not have to travel far for that ultimate winter getaway. This morning, what you can expect from the Davenport Igloos.
It was a special week for WSU athletics. We'll take a look at the top 5 Coug sports moments.
We are showing you new technology local firefighters say could save lives. How Firefly will keep them safe on the fire lines.
Up with KREM starts right now with Jen York, Joshua Robinson, Evan Nurani, and Dana Marie McNichol.
5 a.m. now on our Monday morning, and today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The Spokane Convention Center will be hosting a march to mark the day. It will begin with a rally at 10 a.m. and then the march will follow. Thanks so much for being with us here on Up with KREM. Great to have you with us today. Looking outside, Evan, I know the past 2 years we've lucked out with some pretty dry weather for the march. What are we looking at today?
It looks like we'll continue with that. Yesterday was actually a beautiful day. We saw dry skies out there, a little bit of cloud cover, but things are pretty quiet to start off now our Monday morning. Now that is in contrast to how the rest of the week will play out, but I want to just let you know, at least for the day today, we're going to carry on with those dry conditions. On satellite radar, significant cloud cover is all we're starting the day with. A couple light snow and rain showers, really. There's some pink mixed in there, headed over the Cascades, but it doesn't look like these are going to make their way to eastern Washington. We've got high pressure overhead, keeping us dry for the day today. So what we do have in turn is a little bit of morning fog. Some spots, including Omak, up towards Sandpoint, Walla Walla, experiencing limited visibility to start off the morning. If you're headed out for that Martin Luther King Jr. March and Fair, you can expect 34 degrees downtown just around 10 a.m. That's when that march is going to start getting underway, and there's a lot of resources down there as well. But if you're going to be outside today, keep in mind it's going to be limited that we'll see the sun actually come out. The majority of the day will include very cloudy skies out there, maybe a chance for the sun to peek out. Temperatures just hovering above freezing. We're looking for afternoon highs today in the upper 30s, but by the time we get into your about Thursday, Friday range, we're going to start to see those temperatures warm up to the mid 40s. So warmer temperatures, including some precipitation with rain mainly, is in the forecast. We'll talk more about that in just a few minutes, Jen.
All right, Evan, thank you. 5:02 now. Washington lawmakers got a head start on new legislation ahead of this session. And while it's still too early to say what bill will become law, we are breaking down the top 5. First, lawmakers have proposed a central insulin purchasing program. The measure would attempt to control the rapidly rising cost of insulin. It would create a single buyer for the state. Now that means healthcare providers would obtain their insulin from a single source. It would then eliminate differences in price across providers. Second, a new bill is working to restrict any transit taxes imposed on taxpayers. The bill would only impact cities with a population with fewer than 1 million people. If imposed, a transit tax would create revenue for statewide transportation projects, like fixing roadways and updating public transportation services. Third, free public access to state parks is getting support from both sides of the Washington Senate. If approved, it would increase access to state recreation sites like trailheads and parks. It would also get rid of the Discover Pass. Lawmakers noted in the bill requiring people to carry a pass has decreased attendance at sites statewide. 4, Governor Jay Inslee has a lot of environmental policy. His presidential bid, of course, was based on climate change. Governor Inslee held a press conference in December outlining his plans for the 2020 legislative session, and this includes the establishment of more clean fuel standards. He's also planning to drastically reduce carbon emissions. 5, one of the biggest topics in this year's legislation is gun control. Last month, Washington State Attorney General Bob Ferguson announced his proposal to ban an assault-style weapon. Now, the first stage of the ban has effectively made it to the 2020 session. Lawmakers proposed a ban on all assault-style and large-capacity weapons. The bill also restricts the sale and possession of firearms to specific legal channels. Governor Inslee has signed on to that bill. It is expected to be introduced to both the House and Senate.
Faith-based healing exemption is once again a big topic of conversation in the Idaho legislature. Idaho is one of the few states that does not prosecute parents if their child dies from refusing to give medical care due to religious reasons. Child welfare advocates have been fighting to repeal the law for years. Supporters of the exemption say it protects freedom of religion. Lawmakers have created an official panel to discuss changing the law during Idaho's 2020 legislative session. A Seattle woman has died over the weekend after being swept away in an avalanche in Colorado. Authorities say Van Lee Little was on a guided climb on Saturday at the Dungeon Ice climbing route in Ouray County when a large chunk of ice broke off above her, causing that avalanche. Little was with 3 other climbers at the time. No one else was reportedly hurt. One person has died while 3 others were hospitalized in a 2-car crash near Twin Lakes, Idaho. The crash happened Saturday afternoon, and according to Idaho State Police, the driver lost control of his car and slid into oncoming traffic. An 18-year-old passenger was pronounced dead at the scene. The other 3 were injured and were taken to Kootenai Health. According to police, all passengers were wearing seatbelts. Police say a drunk driver was arrested after sliding and crashing into a power pole in North Spokane. A witness stated that after the crash, a man walked away from the scene. Police later found and identified him as 39-year-old Shane Brown. According to police, Brown showed obvious signs of being under the influence. 3 children were also found inside the car when police showed up. None of them were injured. Now check this out. Police in Auburn released surveillance video of a suspect they believe has been living in the rafters of a grocery store for weeks. Police say he's been stealing from the store, then returning to his hiding place. Employees reported hearing footsteps overhead and seeing a man's legs dangling from the ceiling. Police used heat mapping, infrared technology, and canine units to try and find the suspect. Customers have described the situation as something out of a movie. Police have yet to officially track down the suspect. And that's your Morning Rush. More news in less time. Let us know what's happening in your neighborhood by using the hashtag #UpWithKREM. And as the winter cold continues, it is safe to say that people aren't jumping at the idea of going to get some outside patio seating when they go out to eat.
Yeah, myself included. I don't like to be uncomfortable, right? But now the Davenport Grand has a solution to dining under the stars. Nicole Hernandez is in downtown Spokane this morning. And Nicole, you were giving us a look at its new igloos. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Jen. So we have this amazing little igloo here that we're inside. I'm here with Callie King from the Davenport. And oh my gosh, it is like so cold outside. I did not want to be outside, but it's so cozy warm in here. And they are just so cute. So Callie, can you tell us kind of what inspired this idea and how long they've been here?
Yeah, absolutely. We just kicked this off in January, so just a couple weeks ago. It's been going crazy, but we really just want to give our guests something to do in January, February, March. You know, it's kind of a downtime. The holidays are over. So it was really trying to utilize the patio in that time, and it's just been so much fun. We're loving it.
Yeah, no, like they were saying when they came to us, they said, you know, people aren't really jumping at the idea of coming out on the patio in the wintertime, but this is like the perfect way to do it. And so they have 6 of these all lined up. We're in one of the edge ones on the right side of the patio. So we're going to give you guys a look at all of them throughout the morning, but they all are covered with nice cozy blankets and chairs, and they have different packages. So I want to let you guys pull up that info. And Callie, can you talk about the different packages and what comes with each?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 3 different packages. All of the packages include parking, which is great, as well as a $100 beverage credit, which can be used on alcoholic or non-alcoholic options. And then the only difference per package is what food spread you get. So there's like a gourmet charcuterie board. We have a celebration package that includes a lot of chocolates and champagne and fun things. So just depending on what your reason to come out is, you can kind of pick from there.
Yeah, and so these igloos are starting at $250 for 6 people, and you can have as many people underneath 6. So if you just want to bring 2 people, but it's $250 or 300, I think, is your other option, right? So it's between 250 and 300, depending on what you want. And speaking of that charcuterie board, one of them was in there, and we'll show you guys later. But wow, it looks so good. Have you had any of them?
It is tasty. Oh yeah, I've definitely done some taste testing, and they're great.
Oh yes. So I mean, this is just a really neat way to come out and spend an evening with some friends or family. And we'll make sure to give you a sneak peek at all of the other igloos. But it really does. It feels like a little winter wonderland
It is,
in
and
here.
it's so warm and cozy. It's a fun night out.
I know, we're all bundled up just for the fun of it. Makes it feel better.
Yep.
All right, well, we'll give you guys a sneak peek of some of the other ones later on. I'll send things back to you guys.
All right, Nicole, thank you, and Callie as well for getting up early with us this morning. It is now 5:10 on the dot. Well, this morning, what members of the U.S. Space Force will look like. We're learning now that Space Force debuted its new uniforms on Twitter. The tweet reads, "The first Space Force name tapes have touched down in the Pentagon." While NASA works on space exploration, the branch exists to protect space assets and safe access to and from space. The new branch of the military officially launched last month in its newest branch of the Air Force since it was first established in 1947. Now, there is some talk on social media about the U.S. Space Force uniforms. Critics say there is actually no need for camouflage in space, but leaders say the organization is saving money by using current Army and Air Force uniforms. Joshua, over to you.
Yeah, we now know who is going to Super Bowl 54 this morning. San Francisco 49ers will be taking on the Kansas City Chiefs in the big game this year, and that game is going to be held in Miami on Sunday, February 2nd. Now, this is the first time in 50 years that the Chiefs have reached the Super Bowl. They are looking to win their second title overall, and it would be the first for their head coach, Andy Reid. Meanwhile, the 49ers last played in the Super Bowl back in 2012. They're looking for their sixth championship overall. Their last Super Bowl win was back in 1994. So we are asking you this morning, who do you think is going to win Super Bowl 54? We can, let's see, right now, what are the odds saying? Can't read it.
We got 40% for the 49ers.
Okay.
40% say their team didn't make it.
Oh, I love it.
And Chiefs are at 20%.
You know what's funny about that is, I mean, this is big Seahawks territory, so a lot of them are probably pulling against the 49ers. I think it's going to be the Chiefs. Honestly.
Were the 49ers in it last year?
No, the 49ers were 4-12 last year.
Oh,
they were terrible.
Okay, so things have
this
changed
is kind
for
of
them.
a little bit of a Cinderella story then this year.
Yeah, it's actually, fun fact, it's only the third time in history that a team has only won 4 games and made it to the Super Bowl the next year.
Interesting.
And it's only happened 2 other times.
Well, then for
before.
that reason alone, I'm rooting for them.
You know, and I'd like to think for the Seahawks fans out there, at least they got knocked out by a really solid team, and it wasn't a blowout.
Right. And, you know, there is that idea you want to kind of pull for your division, too, so kind of, you know, that sort of rivalry builds respect.
And now we're split down the middle on everything. We're at 33% for all of those. So keep chiming in. Let us know this morning. We want a definite answer by the end of the show.
Oh, yeah.
We want to say we were able to predict it ahead of time, right?
You're going to hear it right here. First on Up with KREM. All right, Joshua, thank you. 5:12 now, still to come. His I Have a Dream speech is famous, of course, around the world. After the break, we connect the dots on Martin Luther King Jr. and why we celebrate him today.
Plus, the newest member of Spokane City Council is officially sworn in. In our next half hour, we introduce you to Betty Wilkerson.